Hi. How's everybody doing today? Good. Awesome. So, first, before we get started, I just want to, this is my first BSides Cleveland, and I just want to thank everybody, all the volunteers, speakers for putting this thing on. So can we just give them a round of applause, please, really quick? That's awesome. Thank you so much. This has been great so far. So, plus Bloody Mary bars. I'm feeling great. I drank breakfast. That's sweet. So my name is Toterhi. I am going to be talking about Diary of a Security Noob. So I'm going to throw some feedback in there. I'll try to hop out of the way so maybe you can see a little bit better. But just a little bit about me. I've only been in InfoSec for about 4 years. I'm currently working as a web app pen tester. I previously worked in sales for 10 years. No prior IT experience. I kind of just jumped into security after I got laid off. I've got my GCIH, and as of I think February, got my CISSP. I've got one wife, 3 kids. I'm a gamer, and I'm also super famous. I was recently on an episode of Ginormous Foods, where I ate this big sandwich. It's pretty hard to see on here, but it's a big meatball sandwich, and look how the host is super excited to see me eating. I've never seen anybody be that excited about somebody else eating a sandwich, but maybe, I don't know. So why this talk? Why am I up here, talking about being a noob security? Well, first of all, I just want to see, show of hands, who would considers themselves, new to security? Awesome. Okay, awesome. Great. So I think it, for people like us, it can be really overwhelming, right? Especially if you don't have, there's a certain level of, overwhelmingness if you're new to security, but, if you've got a little bit of a background in IT, that kind of helps, but just being brand new, it's very overwhelming either way. These are a lot of things that I talk about today that I wish I would have known sooner getting into it, so I'm hoping that maybe I can just give you some tips about that. And I personally, there's a lot of people here, but I want to make everybody, I just want to help make everybody here, their journey as an InfoSec professional, a successful one. So I've got my contact information up here, and you can come up and talk to me. We can, talk shop. So one of the things I love about being in security is that there are a lot of different disciplines, right? So you can do what you love, but you could always know that you're never necessarily stuck in that. You can always kind of jump around to different disciplines. Your role can evolve, and that career progression doesn't necessarily have to be linear, right? So you can start out, you can go as an analyst, and then go the engineering route, to an architect, and you go to management. So one of the things I hear a lot about with a lot of people getting new into security, and one of the things that I kind of struggled with was school versus certifications versus experience, right? So I felt that school was really good for a general grasp on a lot of different topics, right? So you kind of get that jack of all trades thing, especially if you're just going I went to a program that was just general IT. So I felt like I had a pretty good background, with that. And certifications are good for getting your foot in the door, especially if you're brand new to it. And it speaks volumes about you if you're willing to go out and pay for your own Sec Plus certification, things like that. That tells people, potential employers, that hey, this person is serious about their career, and I think it speaks really well. It's something that you can study yourself for, and it's not too expensive to get it. So that's good initiative there. Ultimately, there's no substitute for experience, right? That's what people want, and that's what they expect you to have. And we're at a time now, fortunately, to where it's pretty easy to set up a virtual lab and get some experience with some open source tools and things like that. That having that experience will lend itself to other maybe commercial products, things like that potential employer might have in their environment. So I want to talk too about getting your foot in the door and actually interviewing for a position. One of the things that I did that I thought was really helpful was getting your resume professionally written. Now, I know that's a bit of a investment off the bat, but I think it's been so valuable. There's a lot of places that will sit down with you and talk about, if you're in school right now, they'll talk about the different classes that you've taken and just personally just make that tailor it to, especially if you have a position in mind that you're looking for, they'll tailor it to that. And I still use the resume that I had written, through an organization. Right now, I just kind of add stuff to it. So, at the very least, if you don't want to invest in having somebody work with you to write your resume, just have somebody else look at it. I mean, that always helps, especially somebody that's been in security for a while. They can just help tailor it and give you suggestions. And once you score an interview, good interviews are going to give you a wide range of questions. Now, you're not necessarily going to know the answers to all of them. A lot of the times the interviews are assessing your personality as well as your abilities, because in my experience, potential employers value potential over, the fact if you're just kind of a dick. To put it. So, illustrate here, we've got a couple of different, delicious looking, donut holes. Chances are they're going to go with you if you don't have as much experience, but you have potential and you're a B hole over just an A hole. There's not a thing that they like. So, they can, you can always learn, right? So it's the potential thing. So during an interview, always admit when you don't know an answer, right? So try not to BS through it, right? It's kind of easy to do. You start rambling. I feel like right now I'm kind of rambling on some stuff, but, just at least take a stab at it and say that you'd like to talk through it. You might not know, but that'll kind of help highlight your skills as a problem solver. And in my experience, people like that. Don't be afraid to take notes while interviewing either. That kind of just shows that if you don't know a thing, you could always look at it later. You're being asked this question for a specific reason, right? So it's not going to hurt to jot that down, to study up on it later. Maybe you don't get the position, and next time it comes up, you'll be able to nail it. And never sell yourself short. I'm going to be talking about Imposter Syndrome here coming up in a little bit too, which I could give an entire day talk on. But it's really, personally, I've sold myself short in a lot of things, and it just sucks. And there's a fine line between being confident in your skills and abilities and just being a complete douche. So you just try to walk that, and be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Anybody? Kendrick Lamar? Great album. Love it. Yes, thank you. He says it better than I do, though. Cool. So you landed a job. Awesome. Congratulations. So now what, right? So, just know that you're not going to know everything about the company, the position, your role, within the first day, week, month, maybe even year, right? It's a constant learning, evolving process, right? So, I think if you set your expectations at that and say hey, I'm not going to be able to run the business tomorrow, that, that'll help, kind of make things easier for you, and it's harder to get discouraged that way. Work with your manager to establish goals. Meet with them regularly and say, get maybe 3 or 4 goals. One of them should be a stretch goal, something that's really going to push you to do something that you may not have thought that you could have done otherwise. Absolutely meet with your peers and other teams, especially if you're working, I worked a lot in vulnerability management previously, and one of the most valuable things that I learned is just getting in cool with other teams is going to really help you out, because if you just walk in and throw down a huge vulnerability scan report and you're I need you to patch this, people won't want to hear that, right? So they're already stretched as it is. In security we're stretched, running thin, and it's the same thing for other teams, right? They're not just sitting on their butts doing nothing. So understand that you're giving them additional work, right? So I think your goal should be that when you leave whatever place you are with right now, you want to hear them say oh man, I'm going to miss you. You're one of the good security people, right? Because we're not exactly the most favorite, people walking down the hall to somebody's desk, right? So knowing that, will definitely help. And see how you can affect change, right? And again, there's a fine line here. Don't be coming in your first week and be I declare, Tuesday as no pants Tuesday. That's not gonna happen right off the bat. You gotta give that 6 months. But, see how you can affect change, when you're coming on to a new team, right? They probably have some sort of documentation to get you up to speed. Or even better, if they don't, create that documentation, right? See how you can improve upon the onboarding process. Look for little pieces of, that you can help improve just your entire experience on the team. And then learn the business, right? So it's super important to know the business because you want to know what you're defending, right? You want to know your attacker's motivations, things like that. So much easier to do if you know exactly what it is, like how your business makes money. Okay, so I'm going to talk about imposter syndrome. Woo! Okay, so like I come here and I hear some of the talks and I'm like, wow, I am dumb because there's so many like cool things that people are talking about. And for those of you who don't know what that is, like maybe it's a feeling that you have that you're just like, what is this? Well, I'm going to tell you. It's a psychological phenomenon in which people are unable to see their own accomplishments, dismissing them as luck, timing, or as a result of deceiving others into thinking that they're more intelligent and competent than they believe themselves to be. So there was a good quote online from Alicia Liu, I believe, that said, I was afraid to speak up or ask questions for fear of saying something stupid and that people would find out that I didn't really know my stuff. Like, that's me right there. Like, I talk around things and things and I'm still struggling with that. But I'm getting better every day. So don't worry. We'll be fine. I think one of the keys to overcoming imposter syndrome, and, you know, as being new to security, that's something that we're going to deal with. You know, your perception here is, you know, the circle, right? Where you've got what you think you know, and it's this little circle inside this bigger one of what you think that other people know. And a key to overcoming imposter syndrome is changing your perspective on that. And, you know, the reality of it is that, you know, what you know and what other people know are totally separate things. And, you know, there's this little intersecting part here to where it's just shared knowledge. So, you know, I think that memorize this. If you've got imposter syndrome, get that, because that'll help you overcome it. Okay. So, some other keys to overcoming imposter syndrome is realizing that it exists, right? Don't attribute your success to luck, right? You're here for a reason. You did this. You put in a lot of hard work and you got whatever position that you're in right now, because other people thought that you could do it. And you can. Don't simply just talk about your abilities as using words like merely, only, simply. Like, don't put yourself down. Don't sell yourself short on that. And remember that it's okay to seek help from others, and even the best do it, right? So you come to a conference and you hear somebody talking, and you know, they're asking for help. Like, these are people that, you know, everybody needs help. And one thing personally that really helped me was keeping notes and periodically going back over them, you know, 6 months later, a year later, to see how much I've grown. It's just kind of one of those things that you don't realize until there's that clear, like, delta of time, right? That has passed. And you look back, you're like, I had no idea, like, this is easy stuff. I was struggling with this back then. So that's a really important thing too. I think that really helped me. I want to talk about communication. So communicating well will serve you extremely well throughout your career. Being able to getting comfortable talking to and in front of people is really going to help you. So, you know, try to, you know, if you have a team meeting or if there's a presentation, volunteer to talk. Like, it's hard to get up here and, you know, stand in front of a bunch of people that you don't know and talk about something, and especially you know, if you don't have I guess a background in doing that. But that really helps, and that'll help you in your career, and it'll just help sell ideas and things like that. And that's a lot of what we do in security. Understanding concepts isn't enough, right? So I know for me personally, somebody will explain something to me and I'm like, yeah, I got that. And if I'm not checked on it sometimes and I'm asked to put on the spot and I'm told to explain that back, I can't do it. So, I fumble through and I sound like an idiot. So make sure that you not only understand concepts that people are talking to you about, that you can explain them back, and that'll help kind of solidify it in your mind as well. And you know, if you're not comfortable talking in front of people, consider joining Toastmasters. You know, it's relatively inexpensive to join. And then a lot of the local chapters you can actually go to and go to a couple of meetings and for free without having to join. So they have a lot of different little exercises that they do throughout the course of a meeting, and it's the same people, so you start getting comfortable in front of them, and then you just really it really helps with taking out the ums too, which I'm hearing now. I'm like, stop with the ums. Another There goes an So another important thing is to find yourself a mentor, right? So there's a couple of rules I think that I try to follow, with having a mentor, and that's that you want to mentor with somebody that's at least 2 levels above you. Right. So if you're an analyst 1, don't just go with a 2 if it can be helped. Right. You try to go with somebody 2 levels above you. It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody in security. That definitely helps, especially if you're new, because they can just help you out. And it's important to have a mentor that you're comfortable with, that you can admit things to, like, hey, I don't know what DNS is. Like, is that bad? They'll tell you, right? So that's important as well. You can also have more than one. You can experiment, have somebody in security, IT, also in management, just to get that leadership perspective, on things and help build your leadership skills. And also make it official and meet regularly. Make it a thing. Take time on your calendar and block time out. If it has to be over lunch, or if you're lucky enough to actually have, your boss let you block it off on your calendar and meet, both of you, that's even better. And as you get more experience under your belt, I want you to go out and, mentor other people. Right now, I don't know. If anybody wants a mentor, contact me. I'll do it. That's, I want to help. I want to help people. So, I'm more than happy. Set yourself some priorities and goals. Make this personal. These are what are going to help make you a better security pro, right? So, develop a list of goals. And make sure that they're aligned with your priorities, what you want to be. What are your burning initiatives? What are the things that you want to accomplish? Divide and conquer, right? So you could say, I want to, do this, this, and this, and that could be overwhelming, right? So you want to start general and get precise. Okay. An example. I want to get a certification. Awesome. Cool. Good for you. Which one? Security Plus, right? Okay. Great. Now let's get a little bit more, narrow on the details. When are you going to take it? How often are you going to study? How are you going to pay for it, right? So the idea is to aim to have a clear path to basically achieving your goals. And they don't have to be earth-shattering to everybody, or anybody for that matter. They just need to be important to you. Okay, so it's important to get out there and meet the community, right? Right now is a great start, right? You're at BSides, awesome. There's a ton of other conferences that you can go to or try to get tickets to, if you're quick enough, and meet people, go to other talks, learn, improve yourself. And then keep in touch with the community too. There's a bunch of different monthly meetings that different organizations have. There's from anything from lockpicking to ISSA, IC squared. All of them have probably local chapters where you're from. I know I'm from Columbus, so there's they have all those there. So I imagine they have them up here too. So just get active and meet people. And get that training. No, not all of it is expensive. Some of it is. And I like to do this on what I call the wrapper scale. If you're in the Ferrari, the Jaguar, you're switching 4 lanes, top down, hollering, money ain't a thing, then you probably want to go with that SANS training, right? That's good. We like that. But if you are, if you got the money or you got the brand new phone and you're like, they say it's waterproof, but I'm just going to pour some Cristal on it just to make sure, then you can go with some other, maybe some conference training, right? That's that Lil Wayne money. If chances are you're probably going to the conference anyway, so if you can sneak out and get there, a little bit early and do some of the training, that's a good avenue to go as well. Finally, there's I owe $60,000 in rent, and I don't know how I'm going to pay for it, but I still need training. There's that riffraff training. So, there's a lot of organizations locally that will cut really good deals, right? There's, I know, in, for the CISSP, there was the ISSA actually of all places offered a really inexpensive course on just prepping you for the test. So that was super awesome. And then there's Cybrary too. I mean, it's free IT security, IT training, all that good stuff. Free. You can't beat that with a stick. Well, you could actually. They could pay you to take the training, but that's not going to happen. So if you can't make the conferences, no problem. You could check out Iron Geek site. I don't see him here, but yeah. IronGeek.com, Agent Crenshaw, super awesome for doing all of this. Okay. Check the con site to see if they post the slide decks or any tools that they've talked about. Maybe they have a YouTube channel, or just reach out to the presenters themselves. Like, they're not going to bite. I can't say 100% that they're not going to bite, but for the most part, like, they won't. So, they'll generally give you a couple options for getting in touch with them, email address, Twitter, something like that. Like, hey, watch, I'm going to do it right now. There's my LinkedIn thing. So, you can connect with me. We can make that a thing. So don't be a jerk. Like, it's easy to do. It's easy to get like jaded, as a security pro, especially think like other teams are stupid. You want to avoid the curse of knowledge. And that's where you incorrectly assume that the people that you're talking to have the ability to understand what it is that you're talking about, right? Or that they have the background to understand it, right? So, just because, maybe we all have like an IT background, doesn't necessarily mean that everybody is going to be able to grasp what it is that you're talking about. I'm glad the back, you might need to sit down for this, but, not everybody shares your passion for security. I know it's like, I know, right? So understand your audience and then use that to help tune your message, right? Because like management, a lot of times, like especially in other, like we talk to developers sometimes like they just don't care. I'm sorry, Scott. Like, I don't know. Sometimes they don't. But also one other thing, just don't, like, I don't know, it's easy to do. Like, sometimes they can be annoying. But don't be rude to vendors or recruiters. I mean, I know a lot of times they'll hit you up. Like, I've had vendors send me socks because their product's going to blow my socks off. I'm like, that's kind of dumb, but like on a dad joke level, like, that's kind of awesome. I'm keeping these socks. But just like you, they've got a job. And, I would say like at the very minimum, or at the very most, like troll them, right? Like, that's kind of fun. And it's not that people are stupid. They just might not know any better, right? So we're all on the same team here. Okay, so this is one thing. Okay, 5. Okay. This is one thing that kind of drove me nuts is that there's a, I'm going to read it because you probably can't see it too well, but there was an ad on Facebook that said, like, watch how easy it is to hack people's phone while walking around in public. Secure your data, people. Like, okay, like, that's not cool, right? Because they're essentially telling people this, like, what part of like this complex whatever equation, like, don't you understand, right? Like, this lady right here is probably a doctor, and I doubt she's saying like, you idiot, like, for not knowing that you have high cholesterol, right? Like, that's just not, like, they just don't, people might not know any better, right? You got to be patient. Okay, we'll touch on information resources really quick. The SANS ISC, the Internet Storm Center, great daily podcast, handler diaries, things like that you can touch on. Krebs on Security, Paul's Security Weekly. Reddit is actually a pretty good source. Like, I got a job from Reddit one time. That was awesome. There's like, NetSec students, Ask NetSec. Hacking is hit or miss. And then Digital Guardian put together a pretty good list of like 50 security blogs you should be looking at. The key is just find something that you like, and really just take it from there and stick with those and try to branch out. But there's there's no shortage of information out there. So parting tips, schedule, weekly and bi-weekly one-on-ones with your boss if you can. It helps kind of keep, your finger on the pulse of how you're doing and, things that, maybe that they could notice to help you get, better. Try to find others new to security too, to know like, yeah, we're not alone. Don't burn bridges. I know in Columbus it's a small community, and I believe it is up here too. So, you're not gonna benefit from screwing anybody over. Like, word will get around, and you just don't want to do that. Build yourself a lab. In the slides, we've got a great, Jump put a slide deck together on building a kick-ass home lab. Not hard to do. It can be done. So, I encourage you to check that out. If you want to hit me up for, the slides after this or whatever, that's cool. But wait, there's more. If you're still in school, consider an internship. That's a great way to get experience and meet people. See if you don't work in security. See if your employer will let you shadow in security, once or twice a week, maybe for a couple hours. And keep an eye on the Humble Book Bundle. Look that up. Sorry, I know we got just a couple more minutes. I'm trying to get this through. develop empathy, especially if you're going to be listening or dealing with other teams. Try to understand where they're coming from. Look, I know you already are stretched thin. Here's this huge vulnerability report. Don't just drop it like a grenade and like peace out. Understand where they're coming from. That'll help them kind of want to help you, right? Read The Go-Giver. Great book. Can't talk on it right now. Great book. Trust me, some guy you don't know. Don't be too afraid to ask questions, but there's a fine balance here. Don't like come in and be like, if you're Spider-Man, like, how do I shot web? Like, don't do that. Like, try to do some of the research on your own. But, if you need help, ask for it. And then have someone look over your work whenever possible. This talk was actually almost called Dairy of a Security Noob. Thanks, autocorrect. I hate your face. Thanks, Alex, for that. I don't think we have time for questions. Maybe somebody, 2 minutes? Oh, sweet. Okay.